You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me is my co-host, Chrissie. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm finding I'm having some problems communicating. Maybe we can set up like a flashing light Morse code thing, and that might help.
I'll excrete some chemicals that show you what I'm feeling, and that should help.
See, I was avoiding that part. Pheromones over Wi-Fi.
Hey, if they can get through those encounter suits.
Yeah, that's true.
Also joining us today is Caleb Dorsch of the Starfleet Academy Awards podcast. Caleb, how are you today?
I am doing great. I've realized recently that artificial intelligence fails to fully define me as a being, and I'm really trying to work through that. I have a lot of feelings about it, and I feel like an entirely new life form. So I'm doing good.
I'm curious why you ever thought you were artificial intelligence, but that's a whole other thing. Before we jump into our topic for the day, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders and Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And we have some things that we're planning to do with Patreon coming up on BQN. Watch your messages for details. They just sent out a whole calendar thing saying what's going on for the next month. So if you're a patron, go ahead and check that.
Yeah, we got some people that are very much on top of it, and we're appreciating that.
Yes. All right. So as far as news goes, big thing I believe it's just a day or two ago, filming wrapped on the Section 31 movie. So
You're not supposed to know that.
When the people involved are posting it on Instagram, I think that's fair game.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Well, that's great.
Yeah, so that's exciting. We'll hopefully get to see that sooner rather than later. I think it's still possible we might get that at the end of this year.
I think so too. It's only 2 hours, probably, maybe max 2.5, right? Like that's the equivalent of editing, 2 episodes. If it takes them almost a year to edit 10, I think they can probably do special effects and edit and get it all done, and at least have some cuts done probably by end of summer. So I don't see why they wouldn't, especially if. Right now, the other news, I don't know if you saw, is that Strange New Worlds episode 7 of season 3 just wrapped. Anson Mount had posted about that. So that's just timing-wise, I feel like we're not going to get SNW before the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think we already knew that.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff they still have to get through and edit and put together. So I think...
And 3 more episodes to film.
Right.
And then... Yes, the editing and special effects process for 10 episodes of a TV show takes a bit longer than it does for 1 2-hour movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to mention going back for its ADR, right? All the dialogue reshoots they have to do and all that. So yeah, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they have to do that for the movie, it's still not going to be that much.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean it's still only 2 hours worth of dialogue. So
yeah.
So I mean we're definitely getting Discovery in less than 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, if at this point...
I know that they're actually still working on Lower Decks, and I know there was a bit of a delay with Lower Decks because of the strike, even though they could still... Like, there was nothing There was nothing as far as the production side that had to slow down with the strike. The actors were still not doing voice work during the strike, so that slowed things down with that. But I think we're still getting Lower Decks this year, and we are still getting Prodigy season 2 at some point.
Yeah. I wonder if Lower Decks might be slowed down just a tad since Tani's doing double duty with also being in the writers' room for Starfleet Academy. Because if you got to be two places at once, I mean, granted, she could probably do the audio for Mariner for a whole season in probably about a week if she blocks it out right,
I feel like, I guess that's a little bit of a news here. There was Alex Kurtzman talked a little bit about Starfleet Academy at South by Southwest. Nothing big. They're still playing coy about when it's set, which I find interesting because we all pretty much know it's going to be in the 32nd century. And I don't want to get anyone involved in trouble, but various people have confirmed unofficially that it is in the 32nd century. So it's kind of weird that they haven't officially announced that yet, right?
I guess so.
Yes.
Yeah. I felt like it was a little weird, but maybe it's set later than we think it is. I mean,
okay.
It could,
possible.
It's still the 3000s somewhere.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they could, I hadn't thought of that. They could jump like 20 years and have, Tilly be in charge of the Academy or something.
As long as we have, we can get special appearances by old Admiral Vance in 20 years.
Yes. He won't be that much older. 20 years.
Right.
20 years is a long time.
Yeah, but it's not, he's not going to be 137,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying he would be dead.
He ain't Jean-Luc Picard,
I'm just saying he might be white hair instead of salt and pepper hair.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
I think there's a good chance we're going to hear more definitive stuff about Academy at Star Trek Day, which is coming up just as fast as Discovery Season 5.
First Contact Day.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
First Contact Day.
Yeah. April 5th. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We're only 39 years away from the Vulcans at this point.
I
know. I love it.
Some additional news. We talked
breaking news.
Yeah. Not that breaking, but we talked in our last episode about how Creation was starting to do regional Star Trek conventions again. And there's the Chicago one coming up, which you should go to, Chrissy.
I should.
But there's also going to be one in Nashville, Tennessee, in September this year, and in Secaucus, New Jersey, in November. The Secaucus one is of specific interest to me.
That's very close.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how many Reed Pop conventions? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, even if they can't officially call it a Star Trek convention, I believe the official name is Trek Tour.
That works.
Yeah.
That works.
It'll still be a Star Trek convention. It'll still be all about Star Trek. There will still be vendors selling Star Trek stuff. There will still be Star Trek actors. There will still be all sorts of Star Trek themed events. It will be a lot of fun. And if you are in the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic of the U.S., I encourage you to go to the one in Secaucus. And if you're near Tennessee, go to the one in Nashville. I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun too. I probably won't make the drive down to Nashville, but I will be. I hope to be at the one in Secaucus, and I hope to see lots of our listeners there. Caleb, are you thinking about the Secaucus one?
I am. It is early November, which could work for me. We'll have to talk room arrangements. Money would be the biggest obstacle for me. That's
well, I am always down for paying less for a hotel room. So
yep. Say
it. Who isn't?
Anyway, let's talk about Discovery.
Yes.
Caleb has been begging me to have him on for the Discovery Season 4 recap.
All right.
Ever since I discussed that we were going to do this.
Yeah.
He wants to convince us that it's the best season ever made.
It really is.
It's not.
Okay, it's not the best season ever made, but it is up there for me, at least.
I will say, I think I like it better than season 3 on a rewatch.
I also agree. I had that same thought because I just did a full rewatch, and I like season 3 a lot. And on this most recent rewatch, there's a lot of things about season 3 that felt forced.
Yeah.
Particularly like when you compare the two situations, while the structure of the stories is very similar, the driving factor in trying to solve the burn is entirely pushed by Michael and pretty much no one else, right? Like, it's not really a team effort. Whereas in this season, the threat really impacts everyone, so it is a full court press from everyone. It feels like a big concerted team effort, even though they have different opinions of how to do it, right, and how to go about it. It is something that literally impacts everyone. You know, in season 3, they pop in 100 years after the burn. Literally no one cares. They're just trying to get their supplies, their food, their water, prevent Osira from enslaving people, right? Like, it just... There's parts of season 3 that I'm like, okay, like, it's good. I do really enjoy a lot of episodes in season 3, but I think season 4 feels more cohesive and less forced by Michael. You know, it's not Michael running the entire show. So I think that's why I like
thought
it
of it
more
that way. Yeah, everybody else is just like, this is normal, and yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
That said, if they hadn't solved the burn,
they wouldn't be able to do this anyway.
Season 4 would have been.
Would have been, right. Then it would have been led entirely.
It would have been
by
over.
Michael,
it would just,
you know.
But yeah, like, definitely when I watched Discovery for the first time through, I've been saying for years that I like each season a little less. And I still, season 1 is still my favorite, then season 2, but now I think it's season 4, then 3. Season 4, when it first aired, the Paramount did it no favors by taking a month and a half off in the middle. Right. And then having the last 3 episodes air concurrently with Picard, the good episodes of Picard season 2, when we were all still excited for it.
Only the first 2 were good. You don't have to like assimilation. Bridging Elnor is stupid. Anyway, continue.
You're right.
But no, the fact that they did overlap, like we know Discovery's final 3 episodes tend to have the most bang for their buck. That's just how they run.
And they absolutely did in this season.
Seasons 2, 3, and 4, and they did. Rosetta through the end is just incredible. I would say for me, it's more Galactic Barrier through the end is incredible. But still, I mean, you view those last 3 as one long movie, like, yeah. No, absolutely. And it was not served well. An episode like Rosetta running up against the Stargazer. Like, really?
Yeah.
And then even then, Penance running against Species 10C. Like, come on. Like, they really didn't do it any favors when it aired.
Yeah.
Not to mention the half break in between for parts of Prodigy to come through and then try to get excited about, you know, the cliffhanger wasn't really a cliffhanger in But to Connect, you know, like it was, but it wasn't. Like, it didn't need to be a cliffhanger. And
it would have been fine if we had gotten All In the next week.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. We got a month and a half off, and I clearly recall talking about this on the podcast because All In was my first episode as a host on Infinite Diversity. It was a real bummer to go a month and a half. And then, oh look, we're in a casino for a week. We're not going to really advance the plot.
Right.
Right. But we did get the guy with the weird phrases. So
Haz Mazzaro? I love Haz Mazzaro.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm as happy as a Cardassian with cake. Oh no, I missed you like a Cardassian misses cake. That was what it is.
I wish I wrote down some of his one-liners because some of them are just absolutely nonsensical.
And I do not at any point recall Cardassians caring in one way or the other about Cake, but I think that was the like a bunch of his quotes didn't make a lot of sense if you thought about them.
Yeah, they were all mixed.
Yeah.
Right.
And if anybody's an armist, I'll kick you out of the game.
That made sense.
Yes.
That one made sense. Just the number of quotes that were just like, there's clearly a story here to the 32nd century and why those things matter. Yeah. But I do love that we're not getting any of that context. So it just comes across as like a moment of levity. And even times Book is like, what? And then Mike's like, what? You know?
But yeah, no, I like when we get stuff like that because it shows that the universe is bigger than what we've seen, what we see.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
All right. So let's get into this, shall we?
Well, we didn't even ask Chrissy what she thought about.
Oh yeah, what did you think of this season?
Oh, yeah, I have trouble picking favorites.
Okay, for a sec, I thought you were going to say you hated it for that tone.
No. But like the whole ranking thing, when I'm talking with people about rankings, I always feel like I should have a ranking, and I don't always do that. But this is a good season.
So we won't be hearing you on Trek ranks anytime soon.
Well, no, because Trek ranks, it's, what does he say? The ranking is just so you can talk about it?
No wrong answers.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. So I still am going to say that like season 1 of Discovery is my favorite, but I do like season 4, and I think I liked it better this time around than the first time. I think it, as we have said a lot of times with the more modern Trek, it is benefited by sitting down and watching it as a binge as opposed to week to week.
Absolutely.
So I like it a little bit better than I did last time.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. I definitely did enjoy it. This is the vindication Caleb has been waiting to hear me say.
I know. I think season 4 people will give season 4 more credit in several years after they've had the time to sit with it but I do get that the way it was aired, there were pacing issues. I do get that there were a lot of choices that were strange. Like one of the things that I definitely am critical about and did not like is a lot of people were asking for more time with the bridge crew, right? And we certainly get that.
I roll my eyes every time I hear that.
The shoehorning of facts about the bridge crew, I even like made note of it as we were going through each episode.
It was obvious.
Like some of them felt more organic than others, and there were others that I'm just like, wow, like could this have come at a different time in this episode? Not right when we're about to hit the panic button, or like a big thing's gonna happen. Like there are scenes you could do in that awesome new bar lounge set where you're debriefing, like. Hey, this thing just happened. We just got through this. Hey, thank you for letting me be part of this mission. This thing happened to my family, and this is like a really like heartfelt thing. It means a lot that I was able to be a part of this. Have that happen at the end, not while you're in the middle of a mission. Or, Mr. Saru, I'm sorry that I spoke out. Like, no, like right now we need to preserve ourselves and not die. Let's get in the pattern buffer so we're not, just... I don't know. It just felt like that was the only real detractor for me for this season was that that they tried to shoehorn things in a way that didn't feel organic. There were certainly some that felt more organic than others. Like I thought actually some of Bryce's stuff felt more organic compared to Reese or OO's.
Yeah, no, Bryce was okay because like we saw that Bryce was talking about it because he was going off to do something else, and that
right.
But like, yeah, Reese in the examples was especially egregious. I thought if I had to rank it, I thought the worst one was Joanna Woshikun in Stormy Weather, and then the Reese one. I thought the ones with Detmer were probably the most organic, especially in Rosetta. Like I thought, and then she like went and apologized about like getting all emotional and about talking about her dad and stuff. And I'm like, that like literally this whole episode is about, like neurotransmitters and how like
those things process in our body and how the emotions are linked to them. Yeah.
She was literally the least emotional person in that landing party. That was a whole plot point.
Right. And I was just like, this is fine. Like that was organic. That made sense.
Yeah.
Like, that literally felt right in that moment. But some of those other ones just didn't feel right. But, I think they were this is also the first season that they had to deal with COVID restrictions and everyone was in bubbles while filming. And like, I get that there's probably limitations on how many scenes they could shoot and on what sets they could shoot and when because of that. Like, you have to keep people in pockets, and that part is evident, I think, at least because of those shoehorning facts. I think that's important context to keep in mind when people go back to watch this season. But like when you're watching it and without that context, it's like, yeah, those are just weird. Those moments are weird,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I agree. If you watch the featurettes from the Blu-ray for this season, they talk about how the first time any of them saw each other's faces was during filming.
Right.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do more of it in environmental suits than they just had the mask and they're good,
Well, unless those environmental suits know what COVID is, they'll just let it in.
Well, there is that.
Right.
We'll get to that.
Yes,
Kobayashi Maru. Let's start with Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, so this is the first episode of season 4. We meet the Federation president, who is at least part Cardassian.
And Bajoran and human.
Part Bajoran and human, yeah. Trifecta.
And that's what we know. There may be other stuff in there.
I wonder if she misses cake.
Sorry.
It's the human and her
Have
Mrs.
either of
Cake.
you ever seen the fan conspiracy theory that Cardassians and Bajorans are actually the same species?
No. How the hell did they get to that?
Well, if you going off the Vulcans and Romulans being the same, it's like the Cardassian physiology has adapted to living on Cardassia, but they and the Bajorans came from the same people originally, is the thought. I don't actually agree with. I don't actually think it's true, but it's a fascinating theory.
Here's something that's always bothered me about the Cardassians and the Bajorans and the fact that they are producing hybrid.
And that's
they can reproduce
part
together.
of the evidence, the supposed evidence for it.
Well, but then you could talk about the providers or the preservers or whoever the people from the chase, right? Okay.
Yes.
I
don't think they have a name. Just the progenitors. Was that it? Yeah.
Maybe it's that. I don't. Anyway. So that their meddling made it so that everybody can interbreed. Fine, whatever. Most of the species we run into appear to be at least mammalian style functioning. Cardassians are obviously reptiles.
Right.
I mean,
they bask in the sun and everything.
Sense. Yeah. And I realize plot point. That's why it has to make sense. Fine, whatever. But Cardassians are very obviously reptilian. They belong with the people from the dinosaurs in Distant Origin.
Distant Origin and the Hirogen and probably even the Jem'Hadar to an extent. They all look fairly reptilian. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think the Jem'Hadar are probably reptilian, but they didn't exist on their own, right? It wasn't like the Vorta where they manipulated. They created it from scratch. Yeah. So, but yeah, okay. Rant over. Sorry.
Butterfly people. That's a good way to start. Yeah.
I do love the butterfly people.
The Alshane, yeah. I thought that was an interesting...
You're keeping royalty captive?
You brought a carnivore to our planet?
Small carnivore.
My favorite part was when he describes Grudge, he's like, he give her cat treats. Is she grateful? No.
No.
No, she's not.
Why would she be? I like that we saw them later, though.
Yes.
It showed progress.
They had joined the Federation, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I very much like that they solved that thing. They resolved it, even though they weren't able to have diplomatic communication with them, they still fixed their satellites so they could fly.
Yep.
And gave them the dilithium.
Yeah.
Because that's Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
That's Federation. That's what you do.
At first, I thought it was a little weird that Book was there, but I get like his empathic abilities as a member of the Quajon definitely could potentially be beneficial in that situation if they are more like the fact that they are butterfly people, right? I guess he can communicate with other species in ways or set people at ease, I guess. I don't know. Cleveland Booker sets me at ease for the most part. Like I could see why they would include him on that, even though he's not officially Federation, you know?
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I really liked it when Michael says they're not butterfly people. It's like, well, I mean, they kind of are.
They kind of are.
I mean, like, from her perspective, like, let's be respectful of these people, but also, yes, they are butterfly people.
They're shooting at you right now. You can say.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a really bad slur on their planet. We don't know.
That's true.
But I like that they started with an away mission. It felt like a good way, like, especially after how heavy season 3 was, like starting off with something light and fun was good, right? Like seeing them get to do diplomatic things is fun. Like, I think they didn't really give time in season 3 for the world to breathe in the 32nd century. You got a little bit of it, but I do feel like there is a little bit more 32nd century room to breathe. Still not enough. I'm glad that it seems like the upcoming season will allow some more 32nd century world building. But I like that we start with this here. Just a fun little side mission, you know, or away mission rather.
Yeah. I like the tiny little nod to Enterprise in this episode was nice too.
The Archer space dock. Yeah.
The Archer space dock, and they played a couple notes from the Enterprise ending theme. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. And that was cool too, that they, you know, it's rechristening the Academy, right? Starting up. And while they're not in San Francisco, like this is the best that they can do at this point in time, you know, like eventually when Earth is back as part of, you know, United Earth and Titan, right? Is back together with the Federation. Maybe they can go back to San Francisco, but they don't have a choice right now. So we're just going to do Starfleet Academy in space. So I did like that. I like that a lot. And I think our introduction to Rillick is really cool. You know, like I think Rillick is a really good foil for Burnham this season.
Yes.
Like if people's complaints about Michael Burnham in the past were that Burnham was rarely challenged by people and therefore didn't grow, you know, I feel like Rillick really challenges Burnham this season too, which is something I like.
She does not like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have definitely made that complaint. So yes,
I know. I know.
Somehow though, she still ends up being the way to save everything, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. But it is less egregious this season.
Right.
It is. There's more logic to it.
Mm-hmm. And they find common ground, which I think is the important, like I really appreciate that Rillick and Burnham don't see eye to eye till we get towards the end of the season. Like there is still a lot of there's a lot of growth in that relationship over time. And at first there's a I don't think there's mutual respect at first, but it gets there by the end. And they see why each other have valid points. And I think that's also really important.
And with that respect, it's there and it's great and they have a good relationship, but there isn't, and I liked this, there isn't a scene like in season 3 where Vance just says, no, I'm sorry, you were right to go off and do your own thing.
Right.
So that helped.
You were right, but we're going to strip you of rank as a punishment.
Yeah. One thing I feel like was missing both from season 3 and season 4, and I didn't really think about this until I was rewatching this time around, was a real reckoning with the disconnect and a real reckoning with somebody who wants things to be the way they were 900 years ago. Now, for us, obviously, that would not be good. You know, I think somebody, from the Holy Roman Empire shows up here and is like, we should be doing things this way. Obviously not, but
No.
just,
That'd be awful.
solely as a woman, I'm going to say that. And technology and everything. So I feel like they did a good job of having the people who were coming into the future reconciling themselves with it. But I feel like because it was so much, like you say, Burnham pushing the issue with the burn and pushing, this is the way things should be. We don't see resentment from anybody over that. We see little pockets, like amongst the cadets, like they don't know how to deal with each other. But that's less about that's about their upbringing and their life, and it's not directed at Burnham. I keep expecting somebody to go off on her about, my life was fine until you came in here and taught everybody what the Federation used to be. And it's missing that. And so maybe we'll see that this season. It's like, I don't need it to be a major plot point, but I feel like that should. Somebody is mad at her because they had a perfectly good life before, outside of the Emerald Chain, because that's a whole. Because definitely that's the case.
I do think there is a level of distrust of the Federation at the beginning of this season still.
Yes, absolutely.
And it really doesn't come to a head until you get to Butt to Connect. But the Owl Chain, I think, is a good example. They're like, you bring this gift, but why do you expect us to take this from you? And or do you expect us to be grateful? Like, we were fine, right? Yeah, our navigation systems were effed, but like we were fine, right? Like, I agree. I think that, yeah, definitely. I liked this episode too. I really liked when we get to the space station, and we get the whole rescue mission there.
Yeah.
I like that. I made note of Adira being really excited that it was their first away mission, or like their first mission when they were in charge, not in charge, but like they had an important thing to do. So I thought that was really cool. And the way they kind of like internally monologued both with themselves and Gray on the bridge while everyone was just like staring at them like, what are you doing? Are you ready to go?
Everybody knows nice. You have a real imaginary friend, but don't talk to them when we can't hear you.
Right. So I like that. I liked that they were paired with Tilly. I think that is a unique pairing for an away mission like this, not something you would typically get to see. So it was cool. And
that foreshadows later.
Yeah, I made note of the name of the species. We do get the name of the species for Commander Nahlis. And what was cool about that was, I don't know if you realized, but the species there is the same one as the little girl from Children of Mars, short trek. And they're called the Akosanum. Yeah, Akoszonam. But that's the first time we get their name. That. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And they bring it up when he says the word squiddled, and it's like, oh, it's an Akosanum expression for destroyed beyond repair. And he's all like, I was told it was a shit show, which is Earth for bad. Like,
yeah, I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, I really like that guest actor. I thought he did a good job despite his outcome.
I liked they did a nod to DS9 with this. The space station personnel were wearing a different, slightly different uniform from the ship personnel.
Yep. Yep. One thing I will say about this season, and maybe it was a little bit in season 3 as well, but I know, Thad, you thought this was really cool, but the fact that they start to blend and pull things in from the other shows in this current era. So not just the fact that, the Akosanum are in Children of Mars, but the lackey that Osira lackey in There's a Tide that Michael shoots out the airlock is also a Akosanum. And so it's just cool that there's some Picard connections there, and there's more obviously in this season when we get Kuat Malat and stuff again. But I thought that was cool.
And Picard is the one that actually started that. In the very first episode of Picard, we had a Zahian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I got to rewatch seasons 1 and 3 of Picard.
Yeah. Yeah. Seasons 1 and 3. Exactly. We don't need season 2.
I see what you did there.
One thing as a whole that I really like about this season, and this is an entirely selfish thing, as a chemistry teacher, I don't think we've ever gotten quite so much chemistry in this season. In a season of Star Trek, or even in episodes of Star Trek, and there are several examples along the way. But the first one pops up right in this episode when they're trying to do the rescue mission, and they talk about the composition of the Oort cloud and all the frozen methane that's heading their way and knocking the station out, right? Like the big methane rock hits Burnham in that little worker bee or whatever that she's in, you know? And so I was cool. I was like, yay, there's some chemistry in here. And it's like, methane is normally a gas here. Like, for it to be frozen methane, like, it's got to be really, really, really low temperatures. But it makes sense because it's space, right? Like, there's an absence of heat. So it's just, it was cool. I like that part.
I learned the word Oort cloud from a Star Trek novel when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was a Titan novel, probably.
No, this was pre-Titan.
Oh, baby,
it's definitely
Caleb.
in Titan, I can tell you that.
It was the Deep Space Nine invasion novel.
Oh, cool. That's right. I do remember that.
Time's Enemy. But yeah, no, Titan novels didn't exist when I was a kid, Caleb.
You're right. That's fair. That's fair. Those are, the 2000s and onward. I also like the end of this episode, and it's
like the destruction of Quajon, you monster.
I don't like that. What I like is I like the score and the performance of David Ajala right at the end. Like, you feel
he's good.
Everything that he feels like in that moment. Like I just thought, like, in terms of direction and the way he performed there and the way the score matches that moment, like it's a very surprising, bold, and impactful moment to do that. It sucks. Like, it absolutely sucks. Like, I thought, there's a lot on Quajon that could have still been explored. And I like Quajon a lot, and it's a beautiful place, and it's gutting. Like, it's rough. But he did really well. So I like that performance at least. So, Anomaly. We know Quajon's been destroyed. How are we feeling?
Oh, Book's not feeling great about it.
I know.
No. Did we, they never did establish if, I have to assume there were Quajon in other places, but they never did establish that he wasn't the only one left of his species. Which is
I would
kind of
assume there were others off-world, like, especially if a lot of them are doing courier business. Like, they were, like, Kaihim very much had connections to Osira and the chain because they had to.
Yeah.
And that would make me think that, he's not the only courier that exists. There's a whole network of them.
Oh, yeah.
But not all the couriers are from Quajon.
No, I agree. I'm saying of the people of Quajon, I don't think all of them are stuck on Quajon. Like, they clearly have warp capability and can travel. Yeah. So
we needed a log entry like we got from Spock in Star Trek 2009, where he says, "I am now a member of an endangered species."
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yeah,
right. Right. I don't know. I like this episode a lot. I think one thing that this season does, and I talked about it with Tilly and Adira being teamed up together, we get a lot of unique pairings that I don't think we've really gotten before. And one that continues to happen this season is Stamets and Culber. Or not Stamets and Culber. I'm sorry, Stamets and Book. Stamets and Book were a pairing I did not expect to be together, but I actually thought it did a lot for Stamets' character development, because he tends to be a very direct and blunt person and is not very warm, I guess. And I think Adira has helped made him warmer, but I think him navigating how to help Book and try, because obviously, Culber's the one that's going to excel with helping Book with grief, but Stamets is trying to help from the practical sides. Like, my strength is science. Let me do science. Let me help you. Because I value you, and I like, yes, at first I felt threatened by you because I was the only navigator of the spore drive on the ship, and now you can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can't be the only one again. That's not a good thing, right? Like, Stamets has learned me being the only one is not a good thing. And so I have to make sure Book is okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're an equal part of my team, is kind of the way I viewed that. And so I thought that was a really cool pairing here.
I liked how Stamets expressed his trepidation about it and said that I wouldn't know what to say to Book on a good day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then by the time we get through Choose to Live, I think he's kind of become more comfortable with that and being honest with Book. Where like in Choose to Live, he was just like, I can't talk to the Navarans without a clinical forensic discussion about your loss. That was a really honest moment that I felt like, making sure Book is okay with this, not okay with this. He's not okay with it. He'll never be okay with it, but okay with what has to happen in order to move forward. This season really thrives on scientific progress and how actual scientific progress is made. I was talking with Carl and Thad about this in our group chat, that science is frustrating. Like, there's a lot of times where you have to try things and they don't always work. And then you have to go back to the drawing board, and that sucks. Like, it does suck, but I thought this season's really realistic in that, them having to come up with a unique solution to gather data on the anomaly in this episode, and even though they got that data, like, there's still a lot there that doesn't make sense, when they go to analyze it. It's not something they've ever encountered before. So I really like that kind of approach.
Agreed. Real science doesn't get depicted much.
Right.
Speaking of science, we do get Gray's personality is put into a body.
Yeah.
Again, with referencing other shows, they talk about how this the process had been abandoned because it had a very low percentage of success, although it was used with a Starfleet admiral in the 25th century.
Yep.
Hart, I think, was his name.
And what was cool, this obviously wasn't, I don't know if this was known already, but the decision to kill Eric Sung off, or was it Eric Sung? No, it was Alton Inigo. Alton Inigo Sung off screen for Picard season 3. I don't know if that decision had been made already, but it works really well here because it backs that up. Like, yeah, the dude died. Why would they continue the research of it?
Right.
So that was kind of like a nice retro thing that supported that. From season 3 of Picard. I appreciated Gray's mini arc in this season, even though Gray, I still feel as a whole was underused. I liked his transition, literal transitioning from one form back into a body. I thought that was really well done. And there's one line specifically. It's like, if I get to remake my body, why not get rid of the things that aren't totally me? And that just felt like, even though I know a lot of people like that Star Trek is not always on the nose with its metaphors. Like, this isn't really metaphor. It's more, this is a valid trans experience, right? Like that.
Yeah. I mean, he actually talks about his transition as well. His literal transition before. Yeah.
Right. And I think that, I think there's a lot of things that people just misunderstand about people and their experiences. And so it really just raising awareness about that, I think, is really important. So I thought that was...
Well, I think that's the whole story behind, the whole theme behind this season of Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I also just love Culber's arc in this season too, and he says something really important here. Grief is grief, and everyone moves through it differently. And that's something that, you know, is really impactful and true. Like I think there's a lot of things this season says that I don't think people remembered that it said when they first watched the season, right? I think that definitely is a impactful thing when the way they aired the show was not doing it favors. You know, like there's a lot in this season that really just, it makes you stop and think like, wow, like I think about my students, you know, like my students have gone through so much in the past 4 and 5 years, you know. I like the students I'm currently teaching, their last year of middle school, they were all virtually at home trying to learn. And like the impacts that, you know, whether it's, you know, physical impacts, emotional impacts with their family, how their learning was impacted, the skills that they have, like, it's just so evident that there's a lot that you have to be conscious of, you know, when you're dealing with people, because there's a lot of, I don't want to say baggage, but there's a lot of emotional weight people carry with them on their shoulders every day. And grief is just one of them, you know, and it goes much more beyond that. But I appreciate what this season is trying to say about that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Choose to live.
Choose to live. Well, at the end of this episode, we get one little piece of information about the anomaly, and that's this shit can change direction.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal, right? Like, again, just going back to, hey, we've got this data, and we think it's this. Oh, just kidding. This thing just totally moved on us. What do you mean?
Well, it goes from this is a force of nature that we need to figure out to man-made. This is being controlled. Yeah.
But right, on to Choose to Live. One thing I like about this season too is that while they are doing anomaly stuff in the background, they're doing the research, right? They're trying to figure out what it is. The first half of the season is very episodic. Like, you know, Choose to Live is a standalone episode. All is Possible is a standalone episode. The Examples is standalone. Stormy Weather is kind of standalone, you know. Even All In is kind of standalone. Like, it's not until the back half of the season that we get heavily serialized on the DMA. And so Choose to Live is an episode I find when I rewatch it, I like it more and more, even though it's still kind of like at the bottom of my season ranks. But that's just because there's so many episodes I like in this season. I think the thing that is really cool about Choose to Live is the thematic cross section that all the A, B, and C plot all have with that title. Like, you obviously have the literal Choose to Live with the Kuat Malat. You've got the Choose to Live with Gray finally transitioning back into the body. You've got Choose to Live from Book's angle of, you know, you have to, you need to confront, like, Book needs to confront this nagging feeling of, I don't remember how Leto looked at me. And I miss that. Like, and that's part of my grief. Like, I need to confront part of my grief. And by the end, he's like, I don't feel good, but I feel better, you know? And like, he's choosing to move forward in a sense, you know? So I thought, like, as a cohesive standalone episode, like, I thought this one really, really worked thematically on all fronts, which I liked a lot.
Yeah, this is an excellent episode. And it was funny because when I started it up, I was like, oh, I forgot what happens with this Kuat Malat storyline part of it. And so it was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Enjoyed this because it was such it was just tangentially connected. And so it was easy to go like, oh, yeah, forgot about that. But it is a good story. I love she's got reasons. And I love that you see the Federation, you could have just asked, well, I did, but there were things that stood in the way, and how that often can be the case.
That's another big theme this season, is that the reasons matter, right? I think we see that a couple of different times throughout the season.
They say it literally.
Yeah. The reasons matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. This episode, it's fantastic. I really enjoy everything that happens on the hibernation ship. Part of what I like, this episode does sort of lead us up to the theme of the episode, which is basically the conflict is from a failure of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Giovanni didn't need to kill those Starfleet crew to get the delayed lithium, but because she didn't communicate everything to explain what was happening, that's what happened. And we had the failure to communicate with the 10th C, and it's a microcosm inside the larger story. And I think that's a really neat way to do it.
Agreed. I even think that you get a little bit of that too with Burnham questioning Rillick as well, because they're still in the early stages. And one of the things I made note of was at the end of this episode, this, elaborate orchestra analogy Vance, discusses with Burnham about how, you're just like the first chair violin, and I'm he wasn't even the conductor.
No, the president.
He was saying something like he was something else. But anyway, but Rillick was the conductor, right? Like, it's not your job to know, if one section is slightly off pace, or whatever, or the cello is drunk or whatever. Like this. Yeah,
that was.
So, but I thought that was a really powerful way to frame things too. To Thad's point, it's a lack of communication. The whole thing is communication. We are all just cogs in this master plan, right? Like, how do you got to roll with it. And to a certain degree, like, you're not always going to know how the inner workings of everything and every decision that's made. Like, I'm a member of, I'm at a school where I'm the head of a department, but there's a leadership structure above me, and I don't even know what goes into all of those decisions. And so when people come to me being like, why is this happening? I have to answer honestly, but diplomatically. And, I'm very much in that same boat where it's like, I don't have an answer, here's my thoughts. Like, here's what I think is happening. But because there's not always that level of transparency there, you have to have a level of trust. And that's another important theme this season, is that trust goes both ways, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. And when you have trust and can communicate together, you could even say that all is possible.
Nice segue.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
There we go. The best part of this episode is the NX-01 snow globe.
Yes,
and I'm sticking
agreed.
To it. Although, like, I don't know. I have complicated feelings about this episode. It was one I really appreciated when it came out on rewatch. I think it's my least favorite of the season.
That's a jump.
The big reason the big reason is ultimately the impact of not having Tilly on the show for much of the season.
Yeah.
I do think this makes a lot of sense for her. I do think the way they've organically built it into the first 4 episodes worked for me. And I do love, as a teacher, that Tilly wants to be a teacher. I felt very seen and validated in her experience when watching this the first time through. But it doesn't make the decision to sideline her for the rest of the season until coming home suck any less, Yeah. Like, and so that main story just felt like this is a Galileo 7 retread to a degree, like she is trying to help them communicate, right, and come together as a team. And so, like, she succeeds in that to a degree. But for me, the bigger strength of this episode is not the A story, it's the B story with Burnham and Saru and, trying to bring Navarre back to the table. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that story way more than the Tilly story. And I feel like they didn't jive very well together as an episode. Like all is possible.
It does
is
feel
like
disconnected.
Is the only connection. I think the title connects the two of them. And that's it. It's just like, but again, Thad, I could see how if your complaint is Burnham is the solution to everything, the outcome of that story with Navarre is that Burnham is the solution to Navarre and the Federation, right? And that's hit or miss for some people.
That.
You didn't hate that. Okay, that's good.
That actually made sense.
It actually makes sense. In the same way that it made sense for Burnham to be the solution in Unification Part 3, right. It also makes sense in this case.
It does. But for people who continually are like, why is Burnham always the solution to everything? I get that criticism, right?
This episode has a soft place in my heart because I was the guest on Infinite Diversity for this episode. So this was the first one that I recorded with Infinite Diversity.
Nice.
Yeah. I had forgotten about all that. Making that shift. Interesting times.
What a time.
Which, in retrospect, I realized you probably had me on as a guest that episode because I was already on the short list for host and you wanted to see if I worked.
Yeah, pretty much. But hey, it worked.
Yeah.
Let's see some other things in this episode I really liked. It's actually Kovich. I really like that Kovich had more to do this season.
Oh, he's so good.
I love every scene with Kovich. Kovich is so good.
And just even his framing, it's like they may be the best their worlds have to offer, but they grew up isolated and disconnected. Many find it hard to function as a team with those they don't already know,
I would like to know what exactly Kovich's job is.
Right.
Like, because it feels like he's sort of just involved in everything, and he has like unilateral authority over most things. And what is his job position? What is his job title? What role does Kovich fill?
Right.
He's. I think of him as, an opposite, cigarette smoking man.
Okay.
But he's working for good instead of evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so in the way that we never really did know what his role was. The
vaping role? Is that what you said?
I said the vaping man.
Oh, vaping man. He could be a vague admiral, like a vague admiral. We just don't know.
I like that. Be an admiral who's like, no, I'm not wearing a uniform anymore. I'm wearing a suit and glasses.
And glasses, yeah.
But they also just call him Mr. Kovich too. Yeah. So
he's Future Guy.
Yeah, I don't think he's Starfleet.
I mean, if they make him into Future Guy, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
I would love that. I think that's great. I hope
that's how Discovery Season 5 ends with a tie-in to Enterprise, especially as a sort of a homage to These Are the Voyages. I would love that.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. I was joking about that with having Burnham looking at a holo of something that happened during Next Gen, since we know the timing on this particular season. So
speaking of this season, we finally get holodeck action. It's very minor, but we get holodecks in this season, and they use the AR wall for the holodeck, which is so meta and so cool.
Which is cool.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I enjoy the in this episode. I also enjoy just the stuff with Hugh and Book. It's like he's basically doing like a Zen garden, and like building it up and then just wiping it all away, But we start to get a little bit of a teaser of Culber's going through a lot and is refusing to acknowledge he's going through a lot, And so I like that. Like, who counsels the counselor? Which is important. Like that's a really tough job where you have to listen to people all day, talk about their problems and work through their problems, but like who's there to help you be well, So another great moment, not in this episode, but we see with Kovich and Culber kind of going through that. Again, Kovich does everything. Who counsels Kovich? That's what
Kovich doesn't need counseling.
That's true.
No, I would have loved to see a interaction between Culber and Burnham where she turns around the responsibility hoarder on him, because that's what he was doing.
Right.
But maybe that would have been too on point.
Right.
Is this the one where he's yelling at the dot, or is that later? I think it's later.
I think that's in the examples. I think in the examples he yells at the dot, and then Stamets says, you should take a break, and then that's when he goes to talk with Kovich, I think.
That's yeah.
Well, let's move on to the examples then.
Yeah.
First, one minor thing before examples.
Oh,
what are your thoughts on the dress uniforms that they were wearing there? I love them. I thought they're
fine.
They thought they were fine.
Yeah, they're not my favorite, but I think they're fine. At least they're symmetrical.
Right. I had a feeling it would have been great.
We haven't had a thought I haven't mentioned, but yeah, I actually really like the duty uniforms, except for that stupid flap that hangs down on one side.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I do like the black stripe on one side. And I do like, I really like these.
That asymmetricality. It's the
uneven
waistline.
flaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it look like you buttoned it up incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail with uniforms because I know how you feel.
That's fine.
But the examples.
I mean, I appreciate it when someone else derails with uniforms. Yeah, the examples. My complaint with the examples is the guy that's been holding on to that family tree thing for the past 20 years to give back to his victim. He could have given that back at any time.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree.
Yep.
And not giving it back is actually increasing their suffering. I mean...
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I also feel like this episode... I don't know what the message of this episode is supposed to be, right? There's definitely a component of this season where they want to focus on restorative justice and rehabilitation rather than like really harsh punitive measures, right? Like the difference between the Federation and the Chain is that the Chain will kill you with the trance worms for doing something wrong, whereas here the Federation wants to be restorative, and Burnham is actively combating, this group. What's the name of this species again? I forget
I don't recall.
But I know they're from Enterprise. I forgot to write it down. Anyway, but like she's it's not Dinar. No, not Denari. That's where the DMA was. Anyway,
the Radvik asteroid belt, the Akali, aka
the Akali. That's right.
The Akali. Excuse me.
So the Akali were from Enterprise. Another cool connection, but
they were from Civilization, right?
Yeah, and that's the one I think where one of the crew members gets trapped down like in that little cabin, or not cabin, in like the church or whatever. They were following. Oh God, what's their name? I haven't watched Enterprise in a while. I'm completely blanking.
Civilization is the one where they find that there are people there who have technology that they shouldn't have. It's part of the Temporal Cold War. Yeah,
part of the Temporal Cold War, and there was a member of the God. Why am I blanking on the name? The
Cabal.
It was a member of the Cabal that was down there, and so it's chaos. Yeah. Anyway,
Suliban. Maybe
Suliban, thank you. That's what I don't know why I couldn't think of
Well, yeah, but the Cabal are the evil Suliban, because there are non-evil Suliban.
No, yeah, I know, but he was trying to think of the name of the species. So.
That's all. Yeah. Anyway, back on topic. I like that Burnham is trying to combat this notion that the Akali have, that, you know, our prisoners must suffer forever and there's no chance for them to be rehabilitated, right? I get that that's what they're trying to go with in the episode, but the choice to have Felix stay behind and ultimately die, like, doesn't feel like it serves the rehabilitation aspect of that. And so, like, I feel like tonally there was some mismatching in this episode. And ultimately, like, I think Burnham has a point in that we shouldn't take away his agency, but at the same time, it's like, I think there's a difference between, like, allowing someone to go the route of euthanasia if you're suffering from a horrible disease that's going to kill you, and we're going to let you kill yourself because you made a mistake once in your life. Yeah. Like, it just felt very disconnected by the time we get to the end of the episode.
Agreed.
So I didn't like that part of this.
It is uncomfortable. I think it's supposed to be. But I guess the way I look at it more, it's less the comparison of euthanasia in the case of a disease and more of a lack of treatment. Mm-hmm. If you take evacuation as the treatment, people have the right to say, you know, I'm done with this, knowing what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make it any more comfortable. And I think it's written in there specifically so that book can be uncomfortable with it, which is maybe why it feels forced.
Right. Yeah. Right.
The actor's great, though.
The actor is great.
He's good. Yeah.
This is also the first episode of the season where Jet Reno appears, which made me remember how much I had missed her when she showed up, because she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actor's name was Michael Greyeyes, right? Is that? I think that
sounds right.
Yes, Michael Greyeyes.
So that was cool. I do agree the actor was phenomenal. I love having Jet Reno back. I agree. There's a lot that happens in this episode outside of that I thought, you know, like, we get a little bit more DMA stuff. What I didn't really understand is, like, where the name Species 10C came from. They just decided, we're calling them Unknown Species 10C. You know, it's not the Metrons, it's not the Nicene, it's not the Iconian Empire. Q Continuum hasn't been heard of in 600 years, which lines up nicely with season 2, right?
Of Picard. Like, yeah, that was a nice little Picard throwaway there.
We get some good background there. We get some good ship names, like Janeway and the T'Pau are some of the ships that we see here. They arrive really quickly at the beginning. That the only logical explanation is that someone created the DMA, right? One of my things I was reflecting on is that I miss short, effective teasers before the credits, and I don't. I find that the teasers for Discovery have always been really long. Like, there are very few that are short and quick. And there was this one line. It's like who could have done this? And they could have just done like a smash cut there, credits, and then pick up with all this background on the DMA stuff right after the credits. And I felt like that would have been probably a little bit more effective for this episode, but
Discovery has always felt like it should just have the credits at the beginning and don't do a teaser.
Right.
Because of how long those are.
Right. Like
Prodigy. But I guess that's...
I think the longest one, it was like 16 or 17 minutes before we finally got the credits.
Yeah, it's
I was
ridiculous.
like, haven't I watched a quarter of the episode?
Why are you
already?
bothering?
Like,
yeah.
Right. We meet Tarka in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Tarka in this episode. I love his egotistical, you know, swagger is fun. He talks about, I love me. I'm not going to let anything happen to me.
Right. So this is, again, another episode where the B story I thought was better than the A story because they're doing real science. I thought the way that, like, Saru is kind of timid about the whole thing is great. I like that Stamets felt really threatened by Tarka before he even got there. I thought that was really good. Not just threatened, but disrespected, you know? And it's like, okay, how do you work on that level of communication? We get the Kovich and Culber conversation. It's like, you were dead. Like,
Yeah.
you came back to, you were dead. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Like,
We haven't dealt with it.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Kovich, I did some Memory Alpha lookup just now, and for one, he's Dr. Kovich, not Mr. Kovich. I apologize to Kovich for ignoring his PhD or MD. I don't know which it is. And he apparently StarTrek.com classified him as a Federation agent, and his comm badge would suggest that he is a Commodore.
Interesting.
First time we've seen a Commodore in a long time in terms of the timeline. But okay.
Yeah, the last time would have been Picard.
That's true. Commodore O.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's never been said on screen, obviously.
No.
Commodore hasn't been said on screen. But according to the way the comm badge is set up, it is the same style of comm badge as an admiral's badge, and it has one pip. Okay. So that's why the assumption is he is apparently a Commodore.
He's cigarette smoking man.
Yeah. No, he's no, because he's good. He's vaping man.
There you go.
That's why you said vaping man. I'm like, what did I miss? And I totally didn't.
He's not, filling the room with secondhand smoke. He's vaping man.
Yeah, he's vaping man.
Yeah. Now I get it.
So even though I have mixed feelings about this episode, one of my favorite Michael Burnham moments of the season is at the end of this episode, when she's talking to the ambassador, the magistrate. It's like such a good mic drop moment, and it just feels it's good to see Burnham come into her own and stand her ground. And it's like, he's like, I'm the sovereign magistrate. And it's like, for a colony that doesn't exist anymore, let me remind you that you are now a refugee seeking support and shelter and grace, right? I would hope you would learn to treat those you come into contact with the same level of respect that you seek, basically. Hope you find a more just society than the one you created. I'm like, boom!
Mic drop.
Ugh, so good. So good. I got chills in that scene.
Yes, and I think they did a nice job with it. But it's a very pointed comment for the political situation of the era in which it was produced. It doesn't entirely mesh with what we see of this colony.
Right.
If the group in the prison had been undocumented immigrants, it would have made more sense.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's not the reference to the justice system fits, but the whole thing about you're going to be refugees, and it's okay. Well,
yeah,
that's not the same thing.
Right.
But, yeah.
We also get our first little flavor with Zora. This is another big reason I love this season so much. I love everything Zora. For those that follow me on Twitter, you know how much I love Zora. I've got a Zora tattoo. Zora is my favorite part of Discovery. And so the whole turbo lift scene where Burnham's like, oh, God, it's been such a hard day. And then Zora's like, it can be painful to weigh duty against compassion, right? Another really great thing to think about, And then it's I didn't know you had the operational parameters to make an observation, like that. And it's we come to learn that basically Zora feels emotions, and that it's a recent development. And I just love the progression of Zora over these next 3 or 4 episodes. It started in the episode before where Saru was like, her name is Zora? Where did that happen?
Yeah.
And it's oh, she picked it herself, and then now we get, that you feel emotions. And then in the next episode, there's, a level of fear, some of those emotions that we feel is fear, right? I just thought it's just a very well thought through line on that. And I know that eventually when we get to But to Connect, Carlos Sisko had a big hand in writing that episode. I think the Zora arc largely is tied to him, as well as others, but he had a big part in writing that episode. And I wonder if in season 5, the episode that he has penned has something to do with Zora. But I guess we'll find that out eventually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting. And I wasn't sure how to feel about that. By the end of it, I was like, okay, no, this works, but I don't know. It's uncomfortable. And it in a way that. Did you watch Farscape? Did either of you watch Farscape?
I did not know.
I did, but it was when it first aired, so
it's 25 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So or 20 years ago. Yeah, 20. The ship they're on for a lot of it is like a sentient being.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just weird. And so to have that, I just weird to be inside of a sentient being who also knows everything that's going on in every general place.
Right. And it is. I think that part definitely is weird, but I think that's why they do a good job of kind of towing the line and confronting that. It's like, what parts of this are we comfortable with? What are we uncomfortable with? Especially post-control, right? Like, we went to the future to basically save the sphere data, and now the sphere data has returned the favor by, giving us a companion that's always with us, like this, a companion that cares about us and wants us to be safe and successful and looks out for us. Like, it feels, it's definitely like I don't know if there's an appropriate analogy to it. It definitely is strange, but I don't know. I do think it's a very unique territory to go for Star Trek to have it's like this series is Data, right? Like, Data was learning how to be human, and this is a very unique life form, right? We don't, every show seems to have some sort of unique life form that gets a lot of character development,
The Observer.
Right. And so I think that Zora is the observer of this show. And I appreciate that it's come into play in the back half, of the show and continues. So it's cool that it started with a short trek, right? It's a little thread that started on a short trek, and now it's a real thing. And I like a lot of the Zora stuff in the show more than I even like Calypso. So
I didn't like Calypso.
I was sort of on Calypso.
Yeah,
but I do enjoy Zora in the show.
Yeah, I was actually going into Stormy Weather as the next episode. On first watch, I was half expecting that to be the thing that created the circumstances around Calypso, because you have everybody off the ship, quote unquote, off the ship, and being told to wait, and it just so as I'm watching that, I'm half expecting like, oh, we're gonna have a Discovery A at the end of this episode, and that one's going to get flung into somewhere we don't know.
Technically, it is already Discovery A.
Excuse me, we're going to have a Discovery B.
No, I hear you.
A totally new one as opposed to a refit.
I think Stormy Weather is cool for the Voyager homage. Like, it very much feels like a Voyager episode because of the void, right? Like, there's that part. They talk about, there's the whole thing with the pattern buffer, right? You also get a nice counterpoint callback there, right? Like, everyone hides in the pattern buffer to make sure they stay safe as they traverse out of the void. So it was cool. I did like that. Like I said, the one thing that I struggled with was the shoehorning of facts for Awoshikun, but other than that, like, this is a fun episode. I like it's Frakes. It's a Frakes episode.
Yeah,
and
I didn't fall asleep watching this one.
That's good.
So what I liked at the beginning is the they're all getting kind of amped up and ready to go do this mission in the void, and I liked the swiping. Like, it's kind of like a unique effect. They hadn't really done something like that where it's like these little swipe transitions to the different crew members all being like, yeah, let's go do this. We're gonna go figure out what's going on with the DMA, and so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I like the idea that Zora is overwhelmed by everything inside the ship when she's not getting anything from outside the ship. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and really, they never named it. They eventually named the emotion she was having as fear, but what she was really having that whole episode was a panic attack. It's anxiety. Yeah. And that was so cool. I was like, whoa, like that makes so much sense. Like, how overstimulating is that? Like, and I relate to that. I mean, I've had panic attacks before. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, so I agree. I like that a lot.
And I liked that she was able to focus by playing the game with Gray. That was cool. What I don't like is the game shows up a couple more times, and every time they just call it Gray's Game or the Trill Game. I'm sure the game has a real name, but we never learn it.
To think of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe he made it up.
Right.
I know he didn't.
The weird thing in this episode for me was all the stuff with Book and his dad. We learned, we had learned previously that he had gone by the name T-Rex, but this is the first time I think they brought it back up again and like really were deliberate. Like, his name is T-Rex, not Book. Right. Like, I like where it ends, where Book chooses to believe that this isn't just, a neurological overload from getting shocked. This is, in his mind, evidence that there is life after death and that eventually one day he'll see Kaheem and Leto again. I thought like that was a really interesting way to spin that. But I don't know. I just kind of felt uncomfortable with their relationship. We learned that his dad was very much like a pro Emerald Chain kind of guy. Like it I feel uncomfortable with the political viewpoints of some of my family members sometimes, and it felt very much like that. Like I very much
want great again.
Yeah, make Quajon great again. I don't know. That's kind of what it felt like, and so that part definitely made me a little uncomfortable. But I thought it was good. At the end of the day, like as a whole, Stormy Weather is a pretty good episode. We learned that Zora's name means dawn or new day, depending on which language you're using. If you're using Navarre, I think it's dawn, and Baku, it was new day. I was like, whoa, Baku reference. Like, that's cool.
It's not the only Star Trek Insurrection reference this season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We get isolytic weapons, isolytic bursts. That was good. Obviously, the song at the end, like the whole reason it's called Stormy Weather, that was beautifully done.
Yep.
But to connect, is that where we're going next?
Well, it's the next episode, isn't it?
Yeah. I really like this episode a lot. I mean, the big thing is obviously the way the two stories complement each other. I think when this first aired, I remember people asking, like, was the structure of Burnham's speech and Stamets' reconciliation with Zora intentionally cut that way, or was there ever a version of the script where it was, parallel rather than intertwined? And the answer was that it was always intentionally intertwined. And I thought that part of the episode was really cool and really well done. And I like the way those speeches complement each other. But I also like the whole process of Kovich assessing, Zora, and not just Zora, but Stamets. Yeah. Like, I think at the very end, he's like, this assessment wasn't just about Zora. Like, this was also about you and your ability to be reasonable and cope and find a solution. Like, I would have transferred you off of this ship because I can't transfer Zora off the ship, if you were ultimately not okay with it. So communication, right, Thad? This is what you were saying the big theme was. Yeah. This is an excellent example of finding common ground. So
absolutely. Yeah. No, I always enjoy whenever we get like something we get where the characters are all like at a conference or something and they've got to come up with the solution. I mean, this is just how Star Trek works, and I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the next gen conference room.
Yeah.
And I love it. Yep.
And as far as music goes, this is a shout out for Carl. I love the Hughes log theme that they had in season 3, and I love that that's the backbone of this intertwining speech. And so I think it was Hughes log. I think it's that music piece. But anyway, like I really love the score there as those things are intertwining. So that was cool. We find out that Zora dreams. Like that's really cool. Not just that she dreams, but she dreams about the crew. It's all about connection and love, and that's just who she is, you know. And then I think I had mentioned it earlier. This is the recurring theme of trust comes back into here. And Stamets says, you know, trust is a choice, and I can make that choice, but it goes both ways. You have to trust us to use the information to do good. Like, I get that you're trying to protect us, but this isn't just about you protecting us anymore. This is about us protecting other people too. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
And it ends too with Zora saying it feels marvelous to be seen, right?
Yes.
I think
Love that.
Yes.
I love that. I love that a lot. Especially when you pair that also with the Gray storyline from earlier in the season. Like there's a lot of, you know, people having agency, people feeling seen and validated, and like their experiences are real and it's acknowledged, you know?
And I really enjoy that Zora is like, will you feel better if I create a murder me device? And everyone is like, no, we won't. No, we don't want that.
We don't want that. No. But it's cool that the resolution is Zora, you should join Starfleet, you know?
Yeah.
That's great.
In the Titan books, it reminds me of Second Gen White Blue. If you guys have read Synthesis, the James Swallow novel, that's what it felt like to me. Because at the end of Synthesis, Second Gen White Blue joins the crew, and that's what it is. Like that's what it felt. Now, Second Gen White Blue isn't integrated into the ship, but it's still an AI, a sophisticated AI, but beyond AI, you know. So that was cool. I really liked that.
I'm not clear on how you can discipline a starship if they do something inappropriate, but
Fair.
We'll worry about that when we come to it, I guess.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Go to your quarters. Okay.
We're throwing you in the brig. The brig is Archer Space Dock.
Yeah, Space Dock. Yeah.
There you go.
You were sidelining you in Space Dock, and oh no,
and inconveniencing everybody else.
It's rehabilitative. You want to go on a 5-year mission to explore things? No, you're going to help some refugees instead. No, that's a good point. How do we deal with starship discipline?
Minor, because I don't really feel like there's going to be a lot of issues around that. But
right. And then, of course, at the end, we get the famous cliffhanger that's not a cliffhanger, and shame on Paramount for airing this the way it did. You know, Michael Burnham said shit. Do you guys? She walks in. She's like, Reg? She's like, where's Book? Book's shuttle is about to leave the shuttle bay. Shit. That was good. So I do love the way I didn't love it at the time. I didn't love that they pit Michael and Book against each other, but I get out of necessity that the opposing viewpoints had to be ones in which there wasn't a right answer, and that you felt empathy towards both paths, right? Like, I think it gets a little bit off the rails towards the end because Tarka very clearly has his own agenda, and it's not about what Book thought it was. But in this moment, it's like, oh, okay, you know, like we can go this route, or we can just destroy the dang thing. Like we can go the diplomatic route, or we can just take it out, you know? One is, born out of necessity and timeliness because it's going to keep wreaking havoc, on everything. But the other one, it's more of the way you should approach things, right? It's communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is this happening? Getting to the root cause rather than a temporary Band-Aid. So I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Thad, like you said, this is Star Trek, like through and through. This is just how you do Star Trek. Like,
just missing a PowerPoint from Geordi.
So turning Zora into a member of Starfleet, reminds me of something. Did either of you watch Andromeda?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I was meant to.
Well, in Andromeda, the Starfleet analog, the High Guard of the System Commonwealth, their ships are every ship has an AI, it has a personality, it has a holographic person that it can even
Interface,
it will display the person that is that ship, and they will talk to you and whatnot. And they are a member of the military organization. They have they serve the captain of the ship,
right?
So it's the same sort of thing.
That's cool.
Interesting. Certainly makes you think twice about a self-destruct sequence.
Yeah. Well, if Calypso is anything to go on, we don't have to worry about that with Zora.
Right.
No, but I mean, I say that half flippantly, but half not. It really is, potentially a problem.
That's one question I always have is like Zora's self-preservation. Like, we know the ship couldn't be destroyed in season 2 because of the way the sphere data had merged and its desire to protect itself. And so, like, can Discovery actually be destroyed? I don't know.
Well, she made a kill switch for herself, so
right.
I guess given the right circumstances,
if she is always part of the ship and the ship is the sphere data, then can the ship ever truly be destroyed? I don't know. I feel like it would have to, right? Like, there's at a certain point, like, your shields, you're going to run out of power. Your shields are going to fail. There's limits.
Oh,
right?
You don't mean a self-destruct. You mean like
quite literally, right?
Fighting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think in that case, you don't have control over that.
Right. And in stormy weather, like, we open but to connect in a space dock getting repairs. So, I mean, I guess it would, but
they were losing.
That's the only thing about season 2 I have a hard time reconciling is like, oh, well, if we can't destroy the ship, that's why we had to take it to the future. Why is the ship still able to be damaged? I don't know. Different
weaponry.
Yeah. That's
different
fair.
Time, different circumstances. I mean, they might not have been able to blow it up with photon torpedoes, but if they could have thrown it into a black hole.
That's true. And the void leaves behind a toxic mess. So, it's the toxicity of that non-matter. I don't even know what it is, but anyway.
So I think we've probably talked about this before, but do you think they planned Zora ahead of time, or did they just sort of roll with what Michael Chabon had done with Calypso?
I think they rolled with what he had done because I think a lot of people really liked Zora, and they already had some sort of once they decided that the sphere data had merged with Discovery, I felt like it was a very logical place to go. We get a little bit of it in season 3. Like, I think they started planting those seeds. Like, it would be cool to have this thing sync up again. It's very cool that Zora is part of Discovery. This idea that the ship has been abandoned, like, that's a very enticing thing. It's a cool conceit, to approach. So I don't think they have it mapped out completely. I don't think they ever had it mapped out completely, but they come up with ways to get closer to, reconciling it. So
I never liked Calypso for the reason that it gave us an endpoint that was not really an endpoint, and we weren't really sure what was going to happen with it, and it created it both tied hands and created uncertainty. If they had never named what ship it was, then I would have been happier with it.
Yeah, and then there was that. red herring in the beginning of season 3 when Book refers to the Federation as Vidraish.
Vidraish, right?
Yeah,
that's true. I do want to know more about that. I always thought, like, in my head canon, that when they went through the wormhole to the future, that a quantum copy of Discovery split off in the wormhole.
Ooh.
And it got dumped out at some other point in time. So that was kind of, and not necessarily in the same, necessarily in the same universe, but like a parallel quantum state or something. Because we know if you have a different quantum state, right, you're in a different universe. So I wonder if that's where eventually they'll go. It's like they discover and it had been sitting there for 1,000 years, right? And they referred to Vidraish in Calypso and in season 3. So Vidraish is a common word referring to the Federation in the 3100s. It makes me wonder, like, did that copy split off at the moment they entered the wormhole or something like that, and just was in a different quantum realm, and that's why Control couldn't get to it? I don't know.
The idea that is a parallel universe, maybe, because if there was no solution to the burn, then the Federation can't come in and save things, and they stay the Federation, which is a questionable organization, and the people who think of it that way. And I never thought of any of that. I love it.
All right, so all in Karma Barge.
Yeah,
I love a good Karma Barge. I feel like we've already kind of talked about this,
but not a bad
already.
Karma Barge.
Yeah,
no.
I don't know if there's a whole lot to dissect with this one, other than it's just fun. The Hazmazzaro is great. You get Owoshika.
This episode
beautiful.
would have been fantastic if we hadn't waited 6 weeks to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We get a cool DS9 connection. There are still changelings, which is even crazier to think about post season 3 of Picard.
Yeah, and I love how that changeling looks like the Founders too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So cool.
Just something about a humanoid face. They can completely replicate anything else, but that human type face.
But even then, they can replicate the human face, except Odo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they choose not to. I know.
It actually makes no sense that the Founders look like that. But
right. Yeah. I also like that that Vance pretty much green lights Burnham to get creative in her solution, and the solution is we're looking for these, the Stilf, where the Stilf has a whole bunch of galactic maps or whatever that they've mapped out the territory for the 10C. So that's why we're going to Haas. But really, we're trying to figure out who's trying to deal with this isolinium, We find out that, I don't know if it was this episode or another episode, they actually stated the atomic number for isolinium, which means isolinium is an element and not a compound. So I thought that was really cool because chemistry teacher. It's got a massive atomic number.
That was in species 10C.
That was later in 10C. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Because it was when 10C sends that number and asks why they put it in the DMA. Yeah.
178 is the atomic number for isolinium. We're only up to 118 right now, so 178 is pretty high, and everything that's beyond like element 82 is radioactive and really unstable, so I can't imagine how 178 is. Totally makes sense that it's really nasty stuff. Just tearing holes in subspace and all of that. So, yeah.
But it's also just like grains that you can pour into something.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool.
I mean, uranium can be grains that you can pour into something in the right circumstances. So
it's true.
It's true. Uranium's a much lower number, though.
I know.
92. Yeah. But then if you're looking at mass numbers, you're looking at 235 and 238. Those are the...
Yes.
Yeah. My claim to fame is that I can play the periodic table of elements Sporkle game and get all 118 in 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
Useless skills.
I don't think I could do that with the first 5.
Also, I'm looking at the periodic table now for the first time in, 20 years. And I'm noticing that a lot of them have names that didn't when I
That's true. They all have names. All 118 have official names now. Yeah. It's funny. I have a periodic table blanket I got from American Chemical Society in 2014, which is when I was in college, and that's 10 years ago now. But there were still 4 or 5 of them that didn't officially have names then, and so they recently got names in the last 10 years. So, just kind of crazy how that works. But anyway, enough chemistry corner with Caleb. We can.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We can.
But I love
go
it.
Back to I guess Rubicon, unless we have anything else about All In.
I mean, it's fun. I like the poker game. I like how throughout this episode, Book and Michael are working together, although
they're not,
and also against each other. I like that, how they run into each other, and the first thing they do is help each other. He helps her, and then he's like, I could use an assist with this, and she just jumps to do it. I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I want. This was another missed Paramount merch opportunity. I want that deck of cards. They all look really cool.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
They do. They do look really cool. And
you could tell that the people they are playing against are evil because they have eyeliner around their eyes.
Yes. They look like late 90s, early 2000s goth kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And then we get to Rubicon, which...
Yeah, Rubicon.
I do remember Chrissie did a whole Rubicon history corner on when you guys did this episode originally, so I do remember that. Which I appreciated because my history is not very good, so I actually didn't really know the background of it, and I'm like, okay, like thematically it makes sense.
Beautifully, yeah. My chemistry's not good, so this has been good. So
right, I like that they bring Non back here, but the purpose they bring Non back for doesn't actually feel like she gets used for the purpose she's supposed to be. Like, she's supposed to keep Burnham in check, and she doesn't.
And she doesn't.
Yeah. So I thought it was weird. I was like, it's cool that you're bringing her back, but like,
well, maybe that's the thought process, that she'll check her only so far. You know.
Right. I do love when they're in the shuttle. I love that Bryce and Reese are arguing, and I think this gets into. Yeah, that's their couple name. This gets into what you were talking about earlier, Chrissie, about getting perspectives of how like them being in the future is impacting them, right? Like, and this very much, they each have their own opinion about things now, and it's like is like they have very different views on how to handle this, and it kind of it reintroduces this idea of living in the gray that Star Trek does so well. And I think we're living in the gray as we're, from But to Connect onward. Of the character development pieces, it feels less shoehorned than some of the other ones. Like, I feel like we learn about Reese and Bryce. I can't do it.
I think their couple name should be Brees, personally.
Brees. Yeah, there you go.
That might be better, yeah.
So we learn more about them, I guess, in how they talk to each other and why they are arguing. And I think that feels organic. But I also just like the whole security measures tearing the shuttle apart just made me really nervous. I'm like, you got 4 really big characters. Well, okay, 2 really big characters and 2 side characters, all of which I like. Please don't give me a heart attack like that. Don't kill Saru and Culber right now. So there are parts of this episode I'm like, yeah. But I did notice that the music, and I was talking with Thad about this briefly, but I feel like the whole game of cat and mouse here feels very Wrath of Khan-esque, like when they're in the nebula. And the music is there. And the fact that Book and Burnham are like 2 adversarial submarine captains who know each other's moves. Like, that's kind of like, that part felt really Wrath of Khan-ish, like trying to outsmart each other when you know your enemy really well. So I liked that part. I thought you get some of the most gorgeous sequences of spore jumping that I've ever seen. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But then, like, the part where the shuttle and Book's ship are face to face, and Burnham and Book are just trying to have a conversation and come to common ground felt a little soapy to me. Like, I don't know. It was one of those things. I'm like, okay, I can see where, if people struggled with the pacing of this season, this is the point in the season where you're like, okay, can we move this along? Right? You just had 2 episodes.
I think I remember feeling that.
Yeah. And so I get that. I agree. I think what is overlooked about this episode is that Tarka pulls the trigger and we learn that you can't just destroy the DMA. This is, again, science in action. I had to test my solution. My hypothesis was wrong. And now we have to go back to the drawing board. And now we do have to go through first contact, right? Like Tarka ended up in his haste discovering something that we needed to know. And I think that's beneficial. It's frustrating, like as a viewer, because you're like, come on, I want to move that part on. But again, it's science. It's realistic. Like that is what happens, you know? So I appreciate that. But as a whole, I think this one still is kind of towards the bottom for me of the season. It's like this and All Is Possible are like the bottom two slots. Yeah.
I did like trying to figure out the what was going on with the malfunctions and how one of the replicators was producing hot bananas.
I did like that. Yeah. I did like that.
Banana hot. Or steamed bananas. Still, good reference.
Did the steamed bananas in Lower Decks already happen prior to this season?
Yes. Because that was season 1 of Lower Decks.
First episode, I think. Yeah.
I forgot. I think I remember someone pointing out that it felt like a Lower Decks reference when that first aired. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Definitely. And then we get into, this is all just like one episode, I swear.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's so much better on a rewatch. Yeah.
That's one movie. Galactic Barrier is, I feel like Galactic Barrier is where we finally pick up the pace, but we not only pick up the pace, we get really crucial and interesting information about Tarka. Like I thought the Tarka flashbacks were really cool. And maybe this was just me. The way that they frame Tarka and Oros together felt very queer-coded, even though they didn't actually.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I thought that was cool. I was like, this is Disco doing what Disco does best, right? Like representation. And while they never like came out and explicitly said it like that, I thought that was a very touching.
Oh, it definitely. I definitely got that implication.
Right. Yeah. So I like that a lot. And then I also liked the fact that we go back to the Galactic Barrier for the first time since, you know, where no man has gone before. And that you get these cool spatial bubbles. Like I thought that was a really cool thing. The color grading when they're in and out of the bubbles.
That was really cool.
I thought that was really cool.
Is it this episode or was it the one before where they literally say that no one has ever been past the Galactic Barrier? And I'm like, that's not quite true.
I think it's the one
I think
before.
where No Man Has Gone before they went to the barrier, but they didn't go past it because they started.
But they do go past it in
in TNG.
Well, they do in TNG, but they also do it in TOS, the one with the people from the Andromeda Galaxy. When they turn half the crew into those D20s.
By any other name? No. The Kelvins. Yes. Yeah, this is the Kelvins. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. I guess when they're saying that though, it's not intentional exploration that far.
Yeah.
I guess.
But they do in where no one has gone before in TNG, and
right, because the Traveler takes them that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the same though, because there's other circumstances.
Yes, but technically they are not the first to leave the galaxy, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's give them the benefit of having most of their lives prior to both of the incidents you're talking about, and they may be classified looking back on it, and not everybody reads all that history.
That's fair.
All right.
So as far as they know, it is.
Yeah, I mean, Burnham didn't even look up Spock on Space Wikipedia, so why would she look up that?
That's true. I love the beginning of this episode, too. Like, the Galactic Barrier, I think people forget about this teaser, but they're sitting around, they're having the roundtable discussion about how to make first contact. They have, like, all the communicators. And we get our introduction. Thad and I were talking about this guy earlier, Dr. Harai. Oh, I love Dr. Harai. So great.
Yes.
And then Kovich is even like, everything that we're approaching right now, the reason we have all these communicators out is because we need to confront our confirmation bias. Like we know that we can communicate with people through these universal translators because of these commonalities that we've already discovered with how language structures are with these other races, right? But, we don't know anything about the Tensi. Tensi is not even their name. Like, this is completely unknown territory. We need to take a step back and figure out like how to approach this, and so I really liked that scene a lot.
That kind of thing, you got to get past yourself.
Yeah. And Harai was right. The joke about, no, these are here in case you need to translate confirmation bias into Klingon. That was funny.
Yes, that was good.
That was good.
People didn't appreciate it.
Ndoye was at the table for part of this conversation too, because it was everyone that was on the ship already.
I think
right?
so.
Yeah. They had already left, or they were about to leave.
They hadn't left yet because Kovich is there.
Kovich is there, and then we also find out that Tarina decides to go on the ship because the Vulcan ambassador didn't make it, and then Rilek decides, I'm going on the ship. I'm transferring power over to the vice president and all that.
Kovich is not, because he has some other secret thing he needs to do.
He's working on communication stuff, and that's galactic communication. That's why Bryce leaves, right?
So Bryce says that he's working on that, but Kovich specifically says he's working on a secret project. Not that. He says something else, which I suspect will tie into whatever is going on with that Romulan artifact or whatever it is in season 5.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
But it was sad. It was like, hey, Ronnie or Bryce is going to go work on this communication thing. And I thought that would have been a cool way to have some scenes either revisiting him or Tilly or whoever that was no longer on the ship. But it just becomes too crammed in the season. It's one of those things, like, I wish we got those scenes, but I understand we didn't because of the COVID bubbles and having limited sets and not being able to kind of branch out and do those things. But it would have been cool. So
while we're talking about the bridge crew, I just want to address the fact that Nielsen's wig is terrible.
Yes. The Nilsson's wig discourse, I think, has gone on for like 3 seasons, because she was only in season 2.
I don't think it was a wig in before. I think it was her real hair in seasons 2 and 3, and then in 4 I think it's a wig, and that's why it looks so bad in 4. Okay, I would just like to point out I just looked up my photos from STOV 2018, and Sarah Middich had blonde hair.
So confirmed. Confirmed it was not a wig.
And they were filming season 2 at that time, because the whole Discovery cast came out for the last day of the con, because it was on a Sunday, and they were able to take time off from filming to come out for one day at the con.
Nice. Wiggate. We figured it out.
I mean, that doesn't prove that it was natural hair in season 3, but it also looked as good in season 3 as it did in season 2, and it looks terrible in season 4. Anyway.
I do love Burnham's rally speech before they leave. That felt like a very captain-y thing to do.
Yep.
I love a good rally speech. We also get a little bit. Was it at the end of this episode? Actually, it was the end of the last episode. Culber's like talking to Saru about Tarina, and he's like, in my professional opinion, you're being an idiot. You should just go for it. They go for it, and then in a very sitcom-y kind of way, she gets pulled away before she can respond.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I love that. And then I think they talk about a little bit later on when he's just like, he's talking to Culber again. It's like, insecurity is totally normal. It's universal. And I was like, another good one-liner about all the things that we should be feeling,
Yep.
So.
Yes, and then it's the end of this episode with Tarina when she had tried to mind meld with the window.
No, actually, the mind meld is not until coming home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
I forgot about the mind meld actually, but it does blend together. At the end of this episode, we get the fact that the DMA has moved into the path of Navarre and Earth, so they get the message saying, "Oh, these things are starting to happen," right? And so then that's when they like, okay, we got to work fast. Takes us into Rosetta.
Rosetta, yes.
Rosetta, which is a ton of chemistry. I love the A story in Rosetta. I'm not super big on the Ndoye conflict that we
I don't like that.
If it's frustrating. Like, I think the strength of the other side of the coin, right, of the two paths you could have taken, first contact versus let's destroy the DMA, I feel like I was very empathetic and sympathetic of Tarka and Book. When we get to this point, I am less on board with everything they're doing. And I get why Book thinks she can be an ally, but I don't know. It feels like introducing an extra conflict where they didn't need to be. Like if Book and Tarka just continued to do their thing, they would have figured it out.
I think the idea is that Ndoye wouldn't have done this if Earth wasn't directly threatened right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it's back to your thread of communication, Thad. No one, she didn't feel like she was being listened to or validated. And they said, no, we need to stay the course with first contact. And yeah, I'd be kind of pissed if Burnham, the captain and away team, just go off to some random planet to try to gather evidence. And like, it's important, right? The anthropological aspects of figuring out who the 10C are really matters. But I mean, if you're a bystander, you feel helpless. You feel hamstrung. There's not a lot you can do, you know? So.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rosetta, the encounter suits that they wear on the planet. I'm going to get to the complaint I have in a second.
Yes.
But first, I'm going to talk about uniforms again for a second. Hell
yeah.
Wilson Cruz, his encounter suit has white highlights. That makes sense. Culber's encounter suit has white highlights. That makes sense. Detmer's yellow highlights also makes sense. Burnham and Saru, black highlights. Why? Is it not? Why do theirs not have red highlights?
Red highlights. It's because you complained specifically about the red highlights in season 2, and they were looking out for you. No, I'm kidding.
Now, my other complaint, the one you all know I have, the one I complained about vociferously the first time we talked about this episode.
Why doesn't it filter out?
It doesn't filter out the hydrocarbons because it doesn't recognize them. Why is the encounter suit filtering anything? Why is anything from the outside getting inside this suit?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you don't know what it is. Why does it even have the ability to let anything in?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the microscopic level, at the end of the day, the suits are threads, right? Like anything is permeable if it's small enough.
Okay.
Right.
But a hydrocarbon, by definition, is not super small because it's made up of multiple atoms.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, a single molecule of something is still small, though.
Well, yes, but I would assume
relatively speaking,
these fancy 32nd century encounter suits should be designed to not let anything that small in.
Right.
That's especially because they can just hit a button, and now they don't.
With programmable matter, yeah. They tried to explain it, and I don't know if I buy the explanation. So I largely agree. I mean, from a chemistry perspective, the larger molecules get when they encounter other molecules of a similar size and shape, their intermolecular forces cause them to stick together, and so you end up with. That's why we have different states of matter, right? The gaseous state is where we have things that are very few intermolecular forces of attraction at all, and that's why they're able to be free flowing, right? And in the air, the bigger they get, the more likely they are to condense, and then if they are really, really strong intermolecular forces, then they're in the solid form. And so, like, from that perspective, like, not knowing the structure of these things, I question, like, I do question it too. Like, why is it able to? It has to be in the gas state to pass through, but
it's not.
What is the concentration of these things? Right, it's in the dust, so they're large enough where they are solid. Why is the dust passing through, or how is the dust passing through? What, like, I don't know what. Like, I wish there was a little bit more explanation of like the delivery system in which they pass through, right? Because it gets absorbed into their blood somehow, and then that's why, like, if it's in their bloodstream, that's when they're starting to have these hallucinations, right? Because it's then acting like a neurotransmitter somewhere in your brain where it's bonding sites it shouldn't be, and that's why you're getting these adverse reactions and hallucinations. So I do love this for the chemistry aspect of it, but I do have questions about like that actual component.
Yeah, I feel like it should have been a situation where, I don't know, someone's suit gets damaged or something.
Right.
Or you see the hydrocarbon eats through the suit or something.
Right. That would have been a simple way to fix it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I do really like the sci-fi element, and not necessarily completely sci-fi, of these substances conveying feelings to people. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. I do love that a lot too.
My mental gymnastics on the thing with the suit was they're designed to pull chemicals out of the air for air. So like it's got oxygen collectors on it or something.
Right.
And then whatever it is gets caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just completely in my head. So
I want to say, wasn't there an episode where somebody was running out of air though?
In Dead Stop, he was running out of air, but he was also in space.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's.
Yeah. Okay.
In Discovery, I don't know,
Minefield,
and it would have to be
Minefield, not Dead Stop. I'm sorry.
I feel like in Discovery there was an episode where somebody was running out of air, but I could be wrong.
But was it after they went to the future?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Good point.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just my headcanon. So.
I do like seeing like the abandoned remnants of the world and seeing that they're kind of jellyfish-like. I love this theme of jellyfish in my Star Trek, especially the last couple of years, like with the Rytonian space babies and things like that. I was really big on this when it was airing, but I saw a lot of connections between components of the 10C and the Kaliar from the Destiny trilogy. And I honestly thought that that's what they were pulling from. I think I probably talked about that when I was on here. And I still believe that. Like, I feel like they took a lot of those aspects. Like the hyperfield feels very Kaliar. The fact that their body structure is not humanoid is very Kaliar. That they can communicate in ways that, a typical mammalian wouldn't, is very Kaliar. The boronite, like using something so powerful to power that hyperfield. I mean, in Destiny, they basically said it was an omega molecule, right? But isn't boronite what you need for an omega molecule? I thought there was some link between boronite and omega, or there was a link between boronite and the Borg. I don't know. There was something like that. But anyway, I still feel like they took some of the cool aspects of that and integrated them here.
The Borg used or boronite ore to synthesize a single omega molecule, but were unable to repeat the experiment.
That's what it was, yeah. Right. So, I still feel like if you're really looking for a super alien civilization, like that's kind of a cool way to flip that.
It would make sense if they were using Omega, because wasn't that supposed to be an infinite power source?
Right. So Tarka was like, they're using something so powerful. If I nearly blew up Discovery with a fraction of the power for a simulation, imagine what they're doing on this scale for the DMA. Like that's, I like the scenes with Harai in this episode too. Really dressing him down about his bedside manner and then flipping the crossword on him, and the word was obligation.
Yes,
that was great. And then at the end when they figure out like, oh, these are all the molecules, like, and this is how they're communicating. He checks his pragmatism, and he's really like, let's celebrate this for what it is. It's a starting place. I thought that was a really good scene. So, God, I love Harai. I wish we get more of Harai in the next season, but I doubt we will. I think he's a specialist for language, and that's not really where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
never know, though. He might show up at the academy if that's when it is.
Oh, yeah.
Was it the end of this episode where... Was it the end of this one or 10C where Reno gets kidnapped? It was the end of this one.
It was the end of this one.
It was the end of this one. Reno gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I actually thought if they were going to put anyone on that ship, putting Reno
that was perfect.
Was good.
I like when she says, "Please tell me I just broke up a surprise party."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good. And then we're on to 10C. Species 10C. Right?
Yeah.
AKA Arrival.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It really is.
Yeah,
It's very much like
Yeah.
like the movie Arrival, yeah.
I love this episode. I think this is one of my favorite episodes in the entire series. My only issue with this episode is, and it's really more, not this episode, it's really more of coming home. Because of the time they have remaining in the season, the actual progression of determining how to communicate with them and the language feels rushed.
Yeah, that's especially in Coming Home, because they go from one scene where they're able to get like basic thoughts across to eloquent speeches.
Right. So they're like, what do we say? And then Rillick's like, we should say this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just slow your roll. Like, do you see how fast Saru's hands are going? He's like, yeah, dude, calm down. Like, this is too much. But in this episode, I felt like the pacing was appropriate, and I just loved everything about that whole language aspect. You know, we're on level 2 of the Kardashev scale or whatever they said. I thought that was really cool. That working in some real linguistics to it.
I did not realize that was a real thing. I assumed it was
Kardashev scale. No, actually, I think they do the Kardashev scale in Arrival. Like, that's when I knew. I was like, this is definitely an Arrival thing, or homage.
Yep, and there it is. Yeah, because it sounds like the sort of thing they would also make up for Star Trek.
Yeah, that's true. But it is. It's like 4 different tiers for like evaluating civilizations and their technological progress and language.
And we're none of them. We're type 0. Because a type 1 can access all the energy available on their planet and store it for consumption, and would be able to control natural events such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc. Type 2 can consume a star's energy, most likely through the use of a Dyson sphere. And type 3 can capture all the energy emitted by a galaxy.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Why would you even need type 3? Like, ever?
We don't want the answer to that question. That's a dangerous place right there.
I thought that was really good. We do, like you said, we get Nilsson, Detmer, and Christopher trying to help them in the process. It was cool. I love the part where Reno helps Book confront grief. Pain makes people blind. And we get the whole thing about her wife, and how the eyes of the dude she was treating on the Hiawatha matched.
Yeah, that's
gutting,
gut wrenching. Yep.
But I really like that. We learn about Linkos, which is a math-based bridge language. That's like a real thing, I think. So that was cool.
Cool.
And I knew that was real because they talked about it being from the 21st century.
Right. Right. But the whole thing is just fascinating. And then, of course, you got the Book story, Book and Tarka in the background working with Ndoye to try to release the plasma at the end. And that, it's frustrating. It is what it is. But I have mixed feelings about that part. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
More chemistry. The glycyrrhizinic acid in licorice can conduct electricity, and she uses that to revive her communicator badge. I'm like, hell yeah, chemistry. Is
that a real thing?
Cool. It is glycyrrhizinic acid. Actually, so glycyrrhizinic acid is the component in licorice that if you eat too much black licorice, and it actually can cause either kidney or liver damage. And so you have to eat it in moderation. And that's part of it.
That would never be a problem for me.
Right.
Because I
Acquired tastes.
would not like to eat any black licorice.
Know what you're missing.
Before this episode ends, we also get Burnham. Yeah. We also get Burnham and Saru yelling at each other, just the screaming scene.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
was
that is
therapeutic
just...
screaming. And I was like, yeah, that's great.
I love how he sounds like, I don't know, not like a lion or something, but...
It's like
more,
stereoed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. And then finally coming home.
Mm-hmm.
Home stretch.
Yeah. And they're going to be stuck.
And they're going to, they're stuck. We finally get Tilly
Except
back. I love everything with
Mhm.
Tilly in this episode. I think everything with Tilly and
Me
Vance
too.
is great.
Yeah, no, I agree. So with this episode, like, I really enjoy this episode. We did talk about parts of it seemed rushed, and I feel like they should have possibly given this like 2 episodes and cut some from earlier in the season. It also seems a bit too much of a, considering all the people that have died in this season, the collateral damage throughout the season, that we now have the happy ending where no one dies except Tarka.
Yeah. Well, questionable.
And
Yeah, that's true.
Kylie's.
Yeah.
I did like that they left that vague. I like the fact that you don't know if he made it to Kylie's or not. And that would be
Assuming
like a
that's
good
an
short
actual
trek to revisit at some point. I agree there are parts of it that feel rushed. I also like, you know, with the theme of there being communication, like when like they do an excellent job of communicating with the 10C and getting to a resolution point. And then they bring Book back. I actually am okay with them bringing Book back. I don't feel like Burnham needs to suffer any more than she already has throughout this series. And
No, I think Ndoye should have died.
I think Ndoye should have died.
Yes.
That didn't make sense.
Not that I don't like Ndoye and I'm like, she should have died. I just think thematically it would have made sense for her.
It would have made sense.
Especially because she volunteered for the sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
And the moment we bring Book back, though, I feel like they tried to add more to the messaging than I think they were originally intending. Like the theme of the season being communication and finding common ground, right? They had already got them to agree to stop the DMA, right? And the book goes a step further, and then it suddenly becomes about environmental impacts and climate change. Like it's like, hey, this is a toxic mess also. And like, yes, that was in the examples. Yes, it was in Stormy Weather. To a degree, even Choose to Live, because the Bronians had to leave their planet or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know. That part I felt a little when rewatching. It kind of
came out of nowhere.
Yeah. It felt kind of out of nowhere. And it does need to be addressed. Like, I agree. Like, that part definitely was important, but I don't know. It just felt rushed in that part. But as a whole, I do love this episode. I will cry every time the 4 words "he was my one" are uttered. Every time I watch this episode, Burnham just absolutely crushed it. Even earlier when they aren't able to save Book, and you think that Book is gone. Keeping in mind that Sonequa Martin Green lost her parents right around the time of filming. That was definitely it was, you could see the way she was performing there, that was real grief in that moment. Just incredibly well acted. And so it just was, it was a big thing there. The Tarina mind meld, just so baller. Like, I love Tarina mind melding with the 10C. I thought that was great. And then even opening up, I really like...
I always love a good mental thing makes blood come out of your nose scene in sci-fi.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I liked even the beginning when they're on the bridge and showing what everyone's doing, and there's all of the tracking shots. It's just like one long tracking shot between all the bridge crew members and like everything that they're doing. I love when they do things like that. I love a good tracking shot. But yeah. I don't know. I do love this episode. I think there's just minor quibbles here and there, but like you said, it's
no, it's fantastic. It's very Star Trek. It ends the season very well. I really liked it, and yes, I have in fact come around on season 4 of Discovery. It is
that I'm so glad to hear you say that. That has made
it is pretty good.
It's pretty good Star Trek. It is. It's pretty good Star Trek. I think I like the finale of this season more than season 3, and definitely more than season 1. Season 1 and 2, like Coming Home and Such Sweet Sorrow, it's like they're so close together in my mind. They're both very good finales as far as finales go.
I think it's funny. So season 4 of Discovery and season 2 of Picard came out around the same time as we've discussed, and at the time, I enjoyed Picard better when it was airing, and have started to dislike it more and more as we've gone away from it. And with Discovery, it's been the opposite.
I do like that we get to the aftermath of this too. Like they do kind of get to the cleanup aspects really quickly. Like, hey, the 10C is still helping. We figure out, what's going on with the not the space dock, but whatever the Federation HQ is, right? You get you
Putting
get
itself back
president.
together.
You get Stacey Abrams as president. That's kind of
I love
which made
that.
Ted Cruz mad, and that's just great.
Yep. And then I did note that it was a little weird that the final speech at the end was very similar to the season 3 speech. But the difference I noted was that we actually got an update on each of the founding members of the UFP.
Yeah.
They talked about Andorians, Tellarites, the Navarans, and Earth.
I like how the most disagreeable ones never left.
Never left. I do like that too.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
That makes perfect sense to me, because it's
They couldn't agree on whether or not they should leave, and that's why they stayed.
Right?
Yeah. I like that. That's good.
And then I love at the very end the Kwakani Yakwan. We've parted 100 times, maybe we've rejoined a part 100 more. Was a nice little bookend. I wish we could do the same with Discovery. It makes me sad. Season 5 is the last season. I want to rejoin Discovery 100 more times, and maybe we will in the future, but in the form of movies and things like that.
I was not entirely comfortable with how they dealt with Book. Just I felt like they put a little more on him than what he actually did, and I understand that that's going to be hard to differentiate, but he definitely wasn't the one who actually pushed the button on the isolytic weapons. So
the reasons do matter. I think that's the difference is because the reasons do matter. He had a more rehabilitative punishment than
you're
going to go live in a penal colony for 10 years or whatever. Like that was, I think, a very conscious decision about, and that is the punishment. I think that makes more sense. Like when you're talking about the examples and whatever commentary they were trying to go with on prison systems and things like that. Like, I think this was a more reasonable sentence, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
And then everybody's going on vacation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited for season 5. I know that Wilson Cruz said at Farpoint a few years ago that his favorite thing is they actually do go follow up on that vacation scene. I don't know if that actually makes it into the final cut or not, but he said they follow up on that vacation scene. I know you guys can't say. I'm gonna leave that there, but I'm excited for it. To see Hugh Culber in his natural habitat. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to season 5.
Same.
I will not spoil anything, but I think it is going to be pretty good.
I hope it goes out on a high note, and I think it will. I'm looking forward to something different, and it was really fun rewatching Disco this time around. I lasted a full rewatch shortly after season 4 ended, and it's already been 2 years since that happened, so it was nice to revisit some of these episodes. And
I really enjoyed it because I'd never done a full rewatch of anything except season 1.
Yeah. And I think Disco will benefit from time and rewatches. I think it's one that very much like Enterprise is not getting the love that it deserves while it's on air, but we'll find that later. There's certainly things to pick apart. Obviously.
When there are even more new shows for them to hate, they'll talk about why can't they be as good as Discovery was?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
It's the whole Batman. Live long enough to see yourself become the villain. So,
anyone else have anything else to say about season 4 of Discovery?
Bring on season 5.
Bring on season
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Caleb, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can listeners find you online? Do you have any work you want to mention?
I am still on Twitter and Blue Sky and Mastodon at Rogue Mogue. That's ROGUEMOGH. My podcast, Starfleet Academy Awards, hasn't been in production for quite a while. I have twins who are about to turn a year old, but I hope maybe this summer I can get back to it. But the first half of season 1 of Discovery, we've done a deep dive on. You can go back and listen to that through Into the Forest I Go. And that's a pretty good time.
All right. Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not letting people know how you feel through math?
Letting people know how I feel through math. I think I'd be letting people know how I feel about math with swearing. But no, I have an appreciation for math. I just can't do it beyond the basic. But anyway, right. So in addition here in Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the BQN. We have not been terribly consistent with that, and I'm sorry, but we've both had a crazy semester. But it is normally a twice weekly short history podcast that I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. I'm also happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at The Goddess Livia, that's TheGoddessLivia, where you can see my opinions about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Thad, where can people find you when you're not remembering you can control the cat toy, but not the cat?
Always. I always know this. Best place to find me is on Twitter. I am at Tyrannicus, Tyranicus. I am also on all of those other places that you can be. It's too many to list. Mm-hmm. I cross-post some to them, but I'm mostly on Twitter. You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called Licensed Spiel. That's licensed spelled with a C like the British do it, where we talk about the movies and TV shows that we choose to talk about, really. We just finished doing Jason Bourne, and I think we were talking about maybe doing the Tom Hanks, Dan Brown movies next.
Ooh, Robert Langdon. Nice.
Don't forget all of the other great shows here on the BQN. Here's a recording of me from the past telling you all about them. What else can you listen to on the BQN? Replicate yourself a mug of hot chocolate and join Amy, Mark, Christos, and Kelvin as they discuss everything and anything in the Star Trek universe on All Good Things. Boost yourself with an energy drink and join Davey on YouTube and Twitch for reviews and live streams of classic, cheap, and sometimes more recent video games on Bargain Bin Gamer. Brew yourself a pot of coffee and join Jeremiah to discuss Star Trek Voyager on The Captain's Couch. Mix your favorite cocktail and join Mark and Matt at Cinema Z to discuss the films you probably missed but should definitely check out. Pour a cup of tea, Earl Grey, hot, and listen to Stephen and Keith as they discuss the next generation of Trek on Galaxy Class. Get yourself something caffeinated and learn an interesting bit of history with Chrissie and Jason on History with the Szilagys. Have a bowl of flo-meek soup and join Thad and Chrissie and a guest to discuss new episodes of Star Trek as they are released on Infinite Diversity. Have something to sharpen your mind and put your Trek knowledge to the test with the Treksperts quiz. Take a bite out of something that didn't seem edible and join Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley covering all things in New Trek, including that show that is Trek in all but name, The Orville, on Union Federation. Get your Sunday brunch ready for The View Screen, a live weekly talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy with featured guests talking about all things Trek. Pour a glass of wine and spill some tea with Christos, where he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with an LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea, Bev? And Patreon members get to pass around that green bottle of Aldebaran whiskey once a month on the round table, and they can listen to It's Green with Mark White and Amy's Math Moments.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Mark White for the awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
And if you'd like to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts and a number of those other sites as well. And our show specifically at IDIC Podcasts, the same. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. When you next hear from us, we'll be talking about the very first episode of the final season of Discovery called Red Directive. Until then, we bid you peace and long life.
I was also reading online the other day that I think Halley's Comet is coming back around sometime in the late, near that time, I think, or maybe it was the 40s or the 50s. I don't know. I saw something about that the other day. I was like,
isn't it like cool. Something like 70 years for Halley's Comet?
Yeah, and it was in 86.
And the last go round,
and it was 86. It heralded my birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's add that to the Bayeux tapestry of Thad. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, we'll take that over, Chernobyl and the Challenger exploding.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have a little silver lining somewhere.
Yeah.
August 4th, 2061.
All right, so just before First Contact Day, a couple of years. Yeah. All right, the 60s are going to be a good time for us.
Yeah.
Not sure. No. Once not First Contact happens, yes. Did you pay attention to how things were on Earth in Star Trek First Contact?
That's fair. Yeah. No, you're right. No World War III, please.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that one.
It's all right. We'll all be running medical supplies under the radar for Mariposas and
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There we go.
I like that idea.
We get to see hey, if I get to do something with Cristobal Rios, that sounds great to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
just don't stab him in the bar fight, Still salty. Anyway. We should talk Discovery.
That's right. Yeah.
I can't believe they allowed people to smoke cigars at that event at NASA. Sorry. Way off topic. But
I mean,
I started it. It's my fault. I started the Halley's Comet.
No, it's all right. I did think that was odd as well. But,
especially in California, of all places.
Yeah. And around, people who are supposed to be uber healthy and, astronauts and stuff. But...
Anyway,
I don't know. Maybe just everybody was so astonished and that they're like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing that. Are you going to say anything? No, I'm not going to say. Are you going to say anything? Yeah. And then the Borg lady started singing, so that was all.
Yeah. That definitely was a distraction.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I wasn't saying us talking about Picard was a distraction. I was saying that Agnes Girardi in that red dress was a distraction.
That, that's also true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Before we walk away from this, verbally, I do want to say, and this is something that, it's one of those things. Okay, but it popped in my head the other day.
This whole thing's going at the end of the episode, by the way.
That's fine. We have the 100th anniversary of Star Trek, of course. Then right after First Contact.
True.
So we'll have Halley's Comet, we'll have First Contact, and then we'll have the 100th anniversary of the thing that invented First Contact. It'll be good.
Nice.
The way things are going, Bill Shatner's still going to be alive. So
probably.
Oh yeah, yesterday was his birthday. He's 93 now.
Yeah, he is 93 now.
It's funny. My mother texted me yesterday morning to ask if I was doing anything special to celebrate William Shatner's birthday.
What does she think? It's like Christmas or something? I mean,
yeah, I appreciate.
We're gonna go to services.
I appreciate that way that only parents can do, where they like pay attention to the things you're interested in, but also are completely wrong about how those things work in your life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? You don't run around doing Kirk Fu moves all day? Like,
I can honestly say that I have never celebrated any actor's birthday.
No, I know.
No. No. I mean, when they were all on the Star Trek calendars, I'd be like, oh, look, there's a thing. But
I did find it interesting I need to pull off yesterday's date. On the Star Trek page-a-day calendar, which I have had multiple complaints about its accuracy throughout the year so far, it frequently gets episodes wrong when it has, like, it'll show like a picture of a character, and it will say, this person in that episode. I'm like, that's not that episode. But yesterday, they had a picture of William Shatner with a Kirk quote.
Nice, for his birthday. That's smart.
Yes. And it's accurate. It's a quote from Wrath of Khan. They said it's from Wrath of Khan. The picture's from Wrath of Khan. It doesn't say it's his birthday. And what's funny on that is it definitely does have the birthday of some of the other actors.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's a Kirkspiracy.
Yeah.
Anyway.